Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in. This is going to be kind of a month and a half, almost 2-month update on owning the Alienware M17 R4 laptop. And to answer two of the most top asked questions that I get, what are my specs? So this is the custom ordered laptop from Alienware or Dell's website. And this particular one has the Intel i7 10th generation processor with 32 gigabytes of RAM, the 3080 graphics card with 16 gigabytes of video RAM, as well as the Cherry MX mechanical keyboard with the 360 hertz display refresh rate. And I have the 2 terabyte hard drive, not RAID configuration, with an additional 1 terabyte drive that I've added in myself. This thing is a beast. Now, one of the other questions that I get asked a lot, and I'd say this is almost on every single video that I've uploaded, is the fans. A lot of people I've heard have questions about the fans. They've heard that it's loud, and I'm not gonna lie, the fans can get loud on this thing. But as you can see, I'm running Genshin Impact right now. It's a pretty colorful graphical game in the sense of, you know, a game that would generate some sort of heat. And I just wanted to basically show you guys that, you know, I wish I was in a silent room, but my fish tank is making sound, as well as my lovely view outside here. There's traffic, so my window seat here is a little bit louder than I would like, so I do apologize in advance for that. But as you can see here, you really can't hear the computer. I mean, the fan is running, but it's running very, very quietly. Now, I will say out of the box, if you don't undervolt this, the fans can kick in and they can be a little bit louder. I mean, they would definitely be louder than this, but because it's undervolted, it runs a lot cooler, so the fans really aren't kicking in as much as they would, say, if you were to play something else. So that is something that I think is important to kind of notate. If you're gonna buy this laptop, I highly recommend undervolting it. I was completely new to it when I bought this laptop. I've heard of undervolting it, never really looked into much of it, and never really assumed that I would have to. But there's a lot of power in this. Dell makes it super thin, and because it's super thin, it does generate some heat. So because of that, there's one other game that I want to kind of show before we go into the fan profiles here. And that's going to be Need for Speed Heat. And the reason I'm showing this game is because it's a good game to show in the sense of a game that utilizes a lot more resources than I think it needs to be. And part of that is I believe this game was initially designed to run on a console, and somehow it was ported over to a PC. And so the controls are very, let's just say they're not the greatest. I am not a huge fan of these controls at all. I feel like my mouse is completely useless. I feel like I'm using a game from the 90s where I have to use all keyboard commands. So I do feel that there was a lot of options. I mean, right here you can see no mouse, no trackpad, nothing. So I feel that there was a lot of missed potential had they ran it like an older Need for Speed game where I can simply use my mouse in the game. That, I think, would have been a huge plus. As you see here, I have the plastic still on this mouse, much like I do still on the computer. So, with that being said, this game does run a little bit more hotter. And as you can see here, the fan is kicking in. So, it is significantly louder than, say, Genshin Impact. But this game is also using a lot more resources, and it still really isn't that loud. I'm going to shut up here so you can just hear. And I don't really have my volume up very loud. But as you can see, the fan is definitely not overpowering the computer by any means. I'd say right now the fan is pretty average. Now mind you, again, this is Need for Speed Heat. We're currently running at about 80 to the mid 70s, upper 70s frame rate. And, you know, for the most part, it's performing very well. We can definitely change the undervolt if we want it to run cooler, of course, meaning with with it running cooler, you're going to use less power, and less power, less temperatures means less fans, and less fans means less noise. So, like I said, right now, you can kind of hear the fans, but I still hear more of the game than I do the fans. So, not sure how well this camera's picking it up, but you definitely can hear the fans. It's nothing that I would say is ungodly loud. And as you can see here, they are set to balanced. So, with it being undervolted, I currently have it at 95.7 and 95.7. It's given me on the high end 93 degrees, but for the most part, I don't really think, I think part of that is because we are so close to the wall. And yeah, the wall is definitely warm, and we're pretty close here. I didn't really, usually if I'm going to game, I have it set more back here. If I actually play at this station, usually I'm over at my other desk. But for the sake of making this video, I came over here. So you can definitely hear that, you know, the fan speeds, they definitely got a little bit of sound to them. Here's the different fan controls. I think, you know, quiet, of course, is going to be very minimal speeds, but of course a lot of temperature and reduced performance. Performance, I think, is going to be kind of that sweet spot where a lot of gamers are going to want to use. I have mine set with the undervolt with the intent to sometimes turn it on performance, but you can tell it's not super loud. I mean, it's loud enough. I really don't think I'd want it to be any louder, but there's definitely some good flow coming out of these things. I don't think I have a piece of paper or anything to show. I don't, but maybe this. Yeah, you can kind of see it moving. A close take probably isn't the best, but so performance is really going to be that sweet spot. I would only really use this if I'm going to play a game that I know is going to take a lot. Even for Need for Speed Heat, really, I don't even think I'd use performance. I would just keep it right at balanced. Now you do have the cool option. This is going to keep it as cool as possible. The fans are going to run. I think cool is going to be a little bit quieter than performance mode, but it still can get a little louder. Now full speed, I don't think I've ever played a game at full speed. This is fairly loud. Not fairly loud, it is loud. This is the fans at full speed, and you know, it's definitely loud. Now I don't think you would ever really need to put it at full speed. And I'll be honest, even before I did the undervolting, when I played some games, I never put it at full speed. I think the most that I used was performance. And that was even before doing the undervolting. Now that I've undervolted it, I honestly don't ever change it from balanced. And I got the Alienware Command Center working, so I have the ability to go in and change it when I want. I don't feel that I'm restricted because of it. And honestly, as long as you undervolt this computer, you're going to not notice any performance drop. In fact, you'll get performance increase, and your fan speeds are going to be quiet. So this definitely is worth it.